What's up, guys? Sean here. Well, it's been a while since we've done a Steel Geek Out. I've kind of been holding off on Steel Geek Outs. As you start to learn more about steel, you start to realize, holy shit, I don't know as much as I thought I did or think I do. And it's one of those things where you're always learning. So I figure it'd be nice right now to talk about CPM S125V because I've actually just gone through the experience of getting it sent out to heat treat, making decisions, and seeing what would work best and getting the report back of what hardness it turned out to, you know, kind of makes me feel motivated to share a video about geeking out on S125V because we got knives that are coming back from heat treat in S125V that are at a hardness tempered of 63 HRC. That's pretty badass. I mean, we'll see how that holds up. It's very, very interesting. We'll talk in some details about CPMS 125V. First off, the steel is not extinct. CPMS 125V is still available. It's being made by Crucible. This is from John Schneely. I talked to him on the phone. He's a sales manager at Crucible. And what he was telling me is that they just don't make that much of it, and really they don't intend it to be used for knife applications, which is understandable. It's very, very wear resistant. It's very hard on belts. Customers have huge problems sharpening it, but as you guys can see from this channel, we're trying to kind of fix that problem by making sure that at least people have the proper abrasives and the proper stones to sharpen stuff with, whether it's stones through me, stones through Grottomatic, stones through other stone manufacturers. Who cares? Just let's promote that stuff so we can do what we really want to do, and we want to geek on the limits of performance when it comes to knife steels, and when we can now play with the big steels, because people will finally have the tools they need to actually sharpen them to what they need. So that'll be cool. Enough of that though. Let's talk about CPM 125V. So yes, it's still available. In the past, there were some problems with this material, and one of the problems was the stuff was just really hard for Crucible to manufacture. It was really hard for Niagara Specialty Metal to hot roll, and they were having cracking issues and problems with it annealing and this and that. And yeah, it just seemed like it was a real nightmare, and no one really wanted to work with it. Well, times change, and Crucible gets better at making steel. Niagara Specialty Metals gets better at hot rolling steel. And now we kind of live in an age where people are kind of more used to the idea of these really wear resistant steels, and there's better stones that are now available. So, kind of here we are in 2018, and this stuff is looking like we can make knives out of it again. So, it's cool. The stuff's not extinct, they still make it. It's just, it's not very prominent. So, got a few pieces. I paid a premium for it, but yeah, definitely looking forward to getting those blanks back and getting some, blades made out of that. I mean, look at that carbon content. If you guys don't know anything about that, that's a lot of carbon. That's 3 times more carbon content than you can get in something like 1095. I mean, basically, your cast iron pot or pan has like this much carbon. It's definitely within the range of a cast iron, but it's not because the steel's been powdered. So they powder all the steel, so you don't get these big clumpy globules of cementite and this and that. A lot of it's tied up with all these just various alloying elements inside here. Like, look at that vanadium content. That's insane. Like 12%. Yeah, this thing's going to be a real monster when it comes to wear resistance. But what's also interesting is that wear resistance doesn't actually translate directly to edge holding. It's a factor of edge holding. So that's just something to keep in mind. You also have to factor in the hardness of the steel matrix itself. And that seems to be a lot more significant than just the raw, wear resistance of the carbides. If you think about it, steel in an annealed condition is mostly carbides. So that's kind of funny, isn't it? I mean, so you have more carbides when a steel is not heat treated than after it's heat treated. So think about that. Huh? That's kind of mind boggling. It's cool though. We can't talk about S125V and not compare it to S110V because 10V is S110V is like the successor to the S125V. It took a lot of the problems that they were having with it, made it more manageable. It reduced a lot of the carbon content. It reduced the vanadium content, and they were able to add some cobalt to kind of help retard the martensite and keep the carbides from coarsening on the tempering, and then also add some niobium so you still get a lot of the carbide volume while reducing the vanadium here. And the niobium does some interesting stuff that if you guys read knifesteelnerds.com, it does some kind of cool stuff in there. We'll save that stuff for Laren to talk about. Pretty complex, man. I really do enjoy that site though. Make sure you guys look at that site, knifesteelnerds.com. It's just a heaven for people that love this really intricate, complex metallurgy information stuff. So just wanted to kind of compare that to the S110V. Yeah, the S125V is going to cut longer than the S110V, but the S110V, it's a little more balanced, but it's still an extreme, I know people that are new that are watching this are going to ask questions like, "Oh, how does this still compare to 1095 or how does it compare to 3V?" Well, first off, you shouldn't be comparing steels like S125V and S110V to lower alloy steels like 3V and 4V. You should be comparing apples to apples and oranges to oranges. Otherwise, you're going to have a difficult time quantifying differences. It'd be like comparing a pickup truck to like a fucking go kart. I mean, you're going to have a hard time, trying to figure out which is which. Compare a truck like a Nissan to a Toyota or something like that. So, apples to apples. So then you can see differences and then apply that to other stuff. That's just a little rant I have about that. Also, want to show you guys. Here's the data sheet, and it wasn't even complete. I thought that was kind of interesting. It wasn't even like a full data sheet, and kind of some thinking that I had when it was like, okay, we need to get this guy sent out to heat treat, and what should we do? And you can see we have different ranges here of different austenizing temperatures we can choose and hold the soak times. Like for this temperature right here, you know, you would hold for 30 minutes, and then at this temperature here, you would hold for 10 minutes. So the lower temperature, you got to hold it for longer to kind of really kind of put everything in the solution in the austenite. Sorry, the lower temperature here, you would have to hold in solution longer, hold the temperature of the soak longer to put more of the alloy and all that stuff in the solution, because the lower temp things don't move as fast. But at higher temp, less time, and then also you get a lot more growth, grain growths and stuff like that. But it's interesting. I mean, I had to choose like, okay, well, what temp do we want? And I'm more of a Fahrenheit guy, so they have like the translation down here. This is like the key down here. Okay, did we do a 2050 or did we do a 2150? And it was really cool because NiceSteelNerds.com, Laren Thomas, guy's a freaking metallurgist, right? And I'm like, Laren, like, what do you think would be the best way to go about this heat treat? And he was like, dude, do the lower austenizing temperature. But my problem was I had a customer who wanted me to hit this Rockwell hardness of 63, and I'm just like, well, shoot. I mean, it shows it on this spec sheet that in order to get to that hardness, you basically have to hit it at the 2050 for 10 minutes. And so I did one of the knives I had the heat treater do the 2050, and then the other one I had him do the 2150. And sure as shit, I get a call back from the heat treater, and he tells me, yeah, they all were able to reach the hardness that you wanted. So that was really cool, and I know the cryogenics helped for sure after the quenching and stuff like that. So it was pretty sweet, man. So realistically, I mean, you always want to go with the lowest austenizing temperature that gives you, the hardness that you're trying to achieve, just because you'll have more improved properties with the stability and a little bit more toughness. But of course, you're never going to make this steel tough. This steel's never going to be like 1080 or anything like that. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But I just thought that was kind of interesting, kind of going through a little bit of the thought process with S125V. And this could probably be like a 45-minute video if we wanted to, but we're just going to keep it short. Just want you guys to know, yeah, we've been talking about some stones and stuff like that, but really, I mean, that's just kind of like a necessary evil so that we can do the stuff we really want to do, which is badass steels, and be able to sharpen them like nothing. I think the goal in the future is to, basically be able to sharpen stuff like 15V and S125V like it's a goddamn, white steel on a kingstone. So that'd be sweet, man. All right, guys, that's our geek out for now. Maybe we'll do like a part 2 S125V when I get it back and grind it out. So that'd be sweet. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Later.